Hi, I'm Mike Hughes. In the last email, I got a few questions coming back saying, what's the difference between this new 115C or 115 and the original, say, 110 Performer? Let me go over that right now. So our 115C, so this is really our new flagship product. It has a metal slide. It has a red prep, okay? Like before, when you prep the trigger, you get the red laser. When you break the shot, you get the powerful green laser, okay? Now that's the same as the previous model. We have options of green and red shot indicating lasers. This one only comes with a metal slide. And more importantly, this has a form and functional features of a Glock 19 Gen 5, okay, with a Gen 5. All right, so that's all fine and dandy, but that's not really too much new because let's take our original tried and true Performers. All right, this is a polymer slide and a red shot indicating laser. So you got a red take-up laser. Okay, when I prep, I get red. And then when I break, I also get red, all right? A lot of times those are offset from one another, as you can see behind me, because the prep laser is mainly, not really primarily used for a sighting aid, although you can use it for that. Replaceable sights, all that. A little bit lighter because it's polymer slide, but it's a lot less expensive, all right? Particularly for instructors, you can get 5 packs of these for very reasonable pricing. All right, so it's a tried and true. This is a solid model. Of course, it's very tough and all that. But what do we do different? All right, so with our 115 series, we got some neat stuff here. First off, I'll demo. All right, I have a tool here. It's in the base. This tool, it's in there pretty good because you got to remember a big market sector for us is defensive tactic training with SIRTs, going open-handed pistol. So all these things have to be really tough to manage that. It's one reason why we don't have manipulating slide, because those break and slide manipulation can be reserved for your live fire gun, right? So we have this tool. This is a 1.5 millimeter hex wrench. It's useful for turning on and off the take-up laser, okay? That's one great use for this. Also, of course, it's useful for adjusting the lasers. Generally speaking, you want to make sure your sights are centered within the dovetail back here, or the notch, the chamfer back here. And then adjust the shot indicating laser about 15-20 yards to right just cutting sight picture, a little bit of distance on there. Otherwise, if you shoot at distance, the laser starts climbing up. So anyways, you can adjust the laser with this tool. You can adjust the take-up laser position with this tool, and that's similar with previous models. But the new stuff with our 115 is the battery compartment, which is now a CR2, a little bit smaller, but has a shocking amount of value of life to it. Very similar. Don't quote me, but it's about 80% similar life as to the bigger, CR123s. You can adjust the trigger on the exterior. This is actually a really cool feature. It's a little arrow here, so if you go lefty heavier, then you can adjust the brake. So you can go heavier brake, which I suggest for a lot of people to isolate their trigger finger from their gripping fingers, and a little bit of adjustment on the prep. All right, not as drastic. The brake is the big one right here. That's adjustable from the outside. Very handy. Okay. Second thing, this is actually really quite cool. In the very top, in the rear part here, kind of by the ejection port, there is a adjustment as to when the take-up laser comes on with respect to the trigger pull. What I mean by that, if I go righty-tighty here, I'll just demo this. If I just turn this down, okay, you can see right there that the take-up laser is on for the whole time. So that's kind of handy because now my finger's off the trigger, but the take-up laser is on. And the reason that's handy, there's different drills for that. Just the laser drill, as it's called, right? Very appropriately, is that where you can really see in Sewell position or what have you, or converting from Sewell to a compress high ready or anything like that, exactly where its muzzle is, all right? It's pretty simple, but here's even the better one. Now, once I have it constant on, and of course, remember I turned the switch on, so the take-up laser is activated. I can actually go up here and just click that, and now it's not on anymore. And then I click the switch up top here again, and it's constant on, all right? So now I'm gonna put insert and I'm gonna go lefty, and I'll just aim to the side camera here. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn this, kind of like adjusting a carburetor, like the valves and the pins, the needles rather, in a carburetor. So I lifted the internal member just away, so if I even think about touching that trigger, okay? So look at this. So if I even just think, I'm just barely touch that trigger. You see behind me, barely. I just think about touching that trigger. Let's get lined up here. So if I just think, so if I even think about touching that trigger, like just any kind of pressure, any kind of movement on there, will turn on that laser. Why is that handy? Well, as we know, don't put your finger on the trigger till ready to shoot. And a common deficiency is people go ahead and they just sneak that finger on there, right? And if you sneak that finger on here, when we have this high sensitivity, it shows up. One drill, a simple drill, a mildly noxious stimuli is just turn the lights out, all right? So you're doing some indoor training with your SIRT, maybe it's an LE thing and some stack work or whatever. Turn the lights out and you can see, whoop, who's getting their finger on the trigger. And because as we know, even if the finger on the trigger goes on a little bit, it can turn into a lot, full on squeeze with just an impulse, a stimuli. So that is a little bit on the 115. The 115C has functional features of the Glock 19. As I said, this is really, really nice. This product really came out just beautiful. Nice big ejection port to lock down. Of course, the mag changes and all that, and it has that kind of mag release and what have you. Just really, 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 really beautiful design. New interiors, so we're getting huge life out of these trigger components because they really take a beating inside, like 770,000 reps is what we're logging in here. So anyhow, that is the 115, and the 115C. The 115 is the larger version. C meaning compact, functional features of a Glock 19. 115. Instead of a 110, it's a 115 after Gen 5. Okay. Some people don't know this, but the reason it's called a 110, the original 110 models, is because the grip angle is 110 degrees for the Glock. Tandem back a bit. And our functional features of a Smith & Wesson M&P are 107 is 107 degrees. As a lot of you may know, it's a little bit of a shallower, less obtuse angle for that platform. And then of course we have our SIRT 20, which is functional features of a SIRT 320 and a pocket pistol. Of course, we'll look at additional platforms in the future, which we'll release at a later date. Anyways, I don't mean too verbose here. Just want to give an in-depth review on the difference between a 115C and our original 110s. But don't disregard 110 performers. This is our workhorse. This is tried and true. All the components over the years, decades now, have been refined to this cranking out. So, a 5-pack, a 10-pack of performers to get a drill-based course going, or if you want to, you do an applied fundamentals drill-based course to supplement your income and do a course that's all pistol manipulation off the range. That's a great option to have in your repertoire of courses to provide and give to your students. All right, Mike Hughes, thank you much.